comments, say hello. Let me know where you're from and what you're most excited about. We are talking about building freedom into your business. So first of all, if you're not on my email list, I often talk about these things via email. So if you want to get on my email list, I encourage you to take my brand new quiz. That'll get you opted in anyway. The quiz is amazing. It actually helps you identify how soul aligned your business is right now, and then what you can do right away today to move that into more alignments. You actually magnetize yourself to more clients, to more money, to more freedom, because that's what we're here for. I have not met I've been working with entrepreneurs for about 5 years, and I've not met a single one who isn't freedom motivated. So if that's you, definitely take the quiz. The link is in the description here. But what we're going to talk about is really building that freedom into your business structure. So how do you do that? So there's 3 steps. They are simple, not necessarily easy. They're not necessarily hard either, but they're simple, 3 simple steps to get you into a freedom-based business, no matter what your service is. Okay, so if you're new here and you don't know me, my name is Bryn Brown, and I'm so excited to help you create and build a business that you love. And again, almost everyone that I work with, that I talk to, that I meet, that are spiritual entrepreneurs are really freedom motivated. And we have to be intentional about building a business that allows us the freedom, especially when you're a service provider. You have to really be intentional about building freedom into your business, because it can be very, very easy to begin to move into a rhythm where you're actually working for your business rather than your business working for you. Does that make sense? So what I want for you is to think about the structure of your business, the overall strategy that you're implementing, and really become intentional about it creating more freedom for you. So 3 steps to build more freedom into your business, or to build freedom into your business to begin with. Step 1, okay, the first thing that we need to do is really identify the kind of freedom, the types of freedom that motivate you. So for me personally, time is the biggest motivator. It motivates me more than money. Truthfully, I want that time and that space to be with my family, to take vacation, to have a day off. In human design, I'm a projector. I do require some time on my own and a lot of time in nature. You may find that to be true whether you're a projector or not. And so I really value time above all. And oftentimes, time and money freedom are the biggest motivators for most entrepreneurs I meet, but that there's also an element of perhaps this location freedom that you want. So you want to have the ability to work from anywhere. It could also be emotional freedom. So you find that maybe for you, working with clients one-to-one is emotionally taxing. Now, if that's the case, we want to look at, this is a side note and maybe another class, but we want to look at your energetic hygiene practices, because that can be really helpful for you in order to help you not be so emotionally taxed by your private sessions. But if overall you want emotional freedom in your business, we may be looking at a different structure than you have set up today. Certainly maybe not one-to-one client work. So what I often see is time, money, emotional freedom, and location freedom. So there's a lifestyle freedom in there, right? So lifestyle freedom can be something that really motivates you as well. And it can be all of those things, or it could just be 1 or 2 of those things. But the first step is really to identify what are those things that motivate you, that you want to be intentional about building into your business. Because if we don't know what they are, then we can't even put them into this structure. Okay. So step 2, so once you've identified what type of freedom you're looking to build into your business, step 2 is now we're going to assess your structure and your offerings. Okay. Now pricing is going to go into this. This is because the structure and the way that your offerings are set up is going to be a little bit different. Pricing is going to be affected as well. So we're thinking about the strategy of your offerings. So typically for service-based business, you're going to have 3 different types of offerings that you can make. There's a one-to-one offering, a one-to-few offering, and a one-to-many offering. So when we're thinking about scaling in our business, that's often the path that we're taking. one-to-one, one-to-few, then one-to-many. Doesn't have to always go in that order. I've certainly met other people who have started with one-to-many and then started working one-to-one. But typically what you're going to see is that's going to look like private client work. Then one-to-few could be maybe small groups where you're engaging in workshops or you're working with small groups over a longer period of time. And then one-to-many are going to be your digital courses, or maybe your speaking or a book, or something that can reach you many, many people all at once with one single exertion of energy. Does that make sense? So thinking about the different types of offerings, I want you to start to feel into which offerings are going to be the most appropriate for your audience. Now, and for the type of freedom you want to build in. So I work with a lot of therapists, different variety of therapists, psychotherapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists. I work with a lot of therapists, and one-to-one feels oftentimes like the only way to build a business. How can I create time freedom when I have to be there with a client? So I have seen my clients actually create group programs. They've created group programs for their ideal client as well as tangential groups. So for example, I had one client who worked with children, and then she also created a group program to help the parents, right? Support with the parents. So a tangential audience where it really lit her up because she could still teach and be sort of offering a service to supplement what she's doing one-to-one in her private client work, but it was also in an area that really lit her up. For therapists, think about location freedom. My gosh, I have to be in the office, right? How am I going to have location freedom if I have to be in the office with a client? Well, moving online is certainly something that's happening more. So say you're licensed in a single state, then you can at least serve anyone, anywhere in that state if you're taking your services online in some capacity. Now, if that's not possible for your one-to-one client work, now we're thinking about one-to-few or one-to-many in terms of the way that you're working with your clients. So can you take the knowledge and teach people in sort of a zoomed out capacity, right? So this is where that, really getting into that intellectual property, IP, right? What do I know that I can help teach people on a larger scale so that I can actually serve more people ultimately? And they also then funnel into private client work where pricing comes in, because the more you have one-to-few and one-to-many, right? When people have these different levels of investment or different levels of interaction with you, oftentimes that necessitates that our private client work pricing goes up, because now we can offer a variety of prices. So I hope this is making sense. So start to think about, okay, well, what else could I be offering? If you're a massage therapist, again, how can I do one-to-few or one-to-many if I literally massage one person at a time? So again, is there a technique that you're really knowledgeable in? Is there some way that you approach your client work on an energetic level? Could you teach that to other practitioners? Perhaps you could teach self-massage in a group setting, or couples massage in an online portal or an online course kind of a way. So again, it gets into this intellectual property. What do you know? And how can you make that available to more people so that your one-to-one private client work isn't the only thing bringing you money? Because that's how we're going to scale and get more money coming in, help more people, right? So more impact. So this isn't just about receiving more money. This is also about helping people. So energetically, we're staying balanced, and also you're creating that freedom that you've desired. So that's the bulk of it, is really the structure and the pricing of your offerings. But one, we need to know first and foremost, what is the kind of freedom that I'm looking to build in? Then two, how do I structure my offers to actually build that in? And then the third thing is maybe the hardest, right? You need to honor your boundaries. So, I had a client recently who said, I really want to work 3 days a week, and that's it. That's all I want to work is 3 days a week. And I'm like, great, time freedom, beautiful, right? So let's build that in. You work, which days of the week are you going to be working? And then she said, well, how do I do that? And I looked at her and I said, well, you don't work on the days off, right? And it is truly that simple, but it's also really hard. So how do you not answer emails? How do you set that expectation with your clients? How do you really honor those boundaries and do what you say you're going to do or not do? So that is arguably the hardest part of all of this. It all sounds great in theory, but when you're honoring your boundaries, that's when you're really putting pedal to the metal, right? We're practicing what we're preaching, and you have to have that built in. So there's ways that you can do that. So for example, you can lay it out in a contract, or their welcome, their onboarding program or package, right? When you're getting new clients onboarded, you set those expectations up front, because not only are they then primed, right, to not reach out perhaps on your days off, then you have said it out loud, so that you have to hold yourself responsible as well. Okay. And so people are more likely, if you lay it out up front, to honor those boundaries. And if they don't, then you have something that you can rely on. So once it's set into the framework of how you work with people, then it becomes a non-issue typically. So hold your boundaries when you do that also. So if you say, I want a business that allows me time freedom, I want to work 3 days a week, and I want to make the same amount of money I'm making working 5 days a week, right? Energetically, when you honor those boundaries, you hold those boundaries, you start to call in the experiences that also honor those boundaries. So you're going to magnetize yourself to the kind of client that honors those boundaries as well. So know that this is working on an energetic quantum level, as well as on a practical day-to-day level. Okay. So this can work for, external things. It can also work for internal things, more internal into your business. So for example, if you want to create financial freedom, that might require that you set the boundary that you actually show up and you pay yourself a certain amount every 2 weeks. For example, that's one of the things I work on with clients in private client and group client work, by the way, is I will teach them how to set that schedule to actually pay themselves and how to know how much to pay themselves. So how they're running their finances. But again, if you want to attract in more money, we have to have our eyes on our money, right? So on an energetic level, this is working too. And then any self-care that you need to do for your business. For me, self-care is a really important part of my business. Again, from a human design perspective, I can see easily how that is. The more openness you have in your chart, the more likely you are to need some time to yourself, to get out of other people's energy, to get out of your business's energy, to perhaps spend some time in nature. And regardless, even if you have a lot of definition in your human design chart, you might also find yourself really craving being in your own space. So whatever that self-care looks like for you, and for some people, their self-care is going out and networking and being social and getting out and about. And for other people, that's going to be more going within. So really know and honor what you need to show up as your best version of you in your business. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll get those answered. I know this is, again, they're simple steps, but they aren't always easy. And in particular, people can get really caught up around the offerings and then find themselves struggling a little bit to actually honor their boundaries. So if you have questions, I'm here for you. Happy to answer those questions in the comments. You can DM me if that feels a little bit safer for you. I honor that as well. And I hope it was helpful. I will be back here next week, same time, same place. We're noon Mountain Time on Tuesdays, and we'll have another exciting, fun topic for you. Take the quiz. If you haven't taken it yet, you guys are going to love it. I promise it's going to give you some really tangible tips in order to help you be more successful and more profitable in a very short amount of time. So definitely take that quiz if you haven't yet. And until we meet again, I hope you're well, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.